for me, I think the type A employees are the employees you want as the office. You want them. Everybody wants them. So they are the pick of the litter, so to
Yeah.
say. Um, they are going to be looking at everything. So if your social media shows nothing and it shows bad reviews and there's no team building on your social media, there's nothing that's going to draw them in to want to work there. They're just going to move on. They're either A, going to ghost me in an interview, or B, they're going to talk with me and then say, I really don't think this is the right practice for me. So that's
Mhm.
where social media becomes important. And I know, offices think, well, that doesn't matter. I'll talk with them in person. I'll talk with them. You're not going to get the chance to talk with them because they're going to run.
They're gonna ghost you time and time again. Welcome to Career Elevation, where we make hiring easy to find your elite team.
We're two former dental nerds turned recruiters who've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and the you will not believe this stories.
If you're ready for better hiring, better teams, and better vibes,
You're in the right place. Let's elevate your dental world and have a little fun while doing it too.
all right, so today's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about social media. Does it actually affect you hiring? So let's dive right into that, because the next hire that you're going to make, we don't want them to be checking out early, right? So the question is, when they are digging around for information about you slash the office, I'm going to say you a lot, as in the office. If they're digging around, then what are they going to find out? So Destiny, you do a much more of the interviewing than I do. So tell me, do you think that candidates really look at the office social media either before applying, or, what do you think they're actually paying attention to when they're looking and kind of doing some research on the office?
So, referring back to our last podcast when we talked about, A, B, and C candidates
Yeah.
or employees, I'm going to put them in candidates. Like I have candidates who I would say my A candidates and then my C candidates. I'm not even going to give I'll give a B, I guess, too. So A candidates have done their research. They're coming to me with questions. They are prepared. They're excited. They say, we saw these posts on TikTok or Instagram. We saw how good the team looks together and how happy they were. Or I saw all the reviews on Yelp and Google and Facebook, because as much as you think people don't look at Yelp, that's becoming a really big platform for people to utilize. People are using Yelp for businesses all over. So check your Yelp reviews. They are looking at them. I know we look at them when we start working with offices, and we try to help you get those up. Your Indeed profile, a lot of people don't have their Indeed profile built out. That is something that we've added into our business, is building those out for them so that when they click on your Indeed, it shows your office, the location, how many employees, what your revenue looks like yearly, and how long it's been your practice, and just information about you and your office together, which is a good place for candidates to learn about you at. But that has to be done for them to be able to do that. So I do have those A candidates who have done all their research. They are prepared. They're excited. They know the company. They want to work here. I have B candidates who they applied, they clicked on the website, they looked at it, they said, okay, this looks like a good place. Reviews on Google said 4.8 out of 5. Maybe they didn't read all the reviews, but they know where the office is. They know what the office looks like, what you're wanting. Those might be candidates. They've done a little bit of research and they're prepared, but they want to hear more from me or from you as the office. Then I have my C candidates who get on the phone, and bless their
What
hearts.
office is this for?
No joke. I get those on the weekly, guys. I'll say, how far are you located from the office? They'll go, I can tell when they're lying. They'll either say,
Mhm.
it wasn't that far. Okay, well, how far exactly? Like how many
Mhm.
minutes do you think is the commute will give you? And then they'll be, I need to actually look that up again. I know it wasn't that far. They did not look it up in the first place. Let's just make that clear. They didn't. And then they'll say, well, could you send me the address and the name of the office again? Because when I applied on Indeed, I applied to thousands of jobs at the same time.
Mhm.
So I don't really remember what office that is. Here's the thing. I know that me and my team, when we reach out to you, we tell you the name of the office. We reiterate that info. You get a video that tells you about the office that you could watch. That just shows me you did not pay attention when we were scheduling this. You did not watch the video. Basic adult lesson is, when you schedule an interview, write what the office is on the interview in your schedule so that
Yeah.
you remember, even if you're not going to research, at least you don't look like you have no idea who you're talking to today, because that's really a red flag for me. It
Hmm.
clearly shows me you want to be that person. You want to be a type C employee that's just coming into work and get paid. You don't care. So for me, I think the type A employees are the employees you want as the office. You want them. Everybody wants them. So they are the pick of the litter, so to
Yeah.
say. Um, they are going to be looking at everything. So if your social media shows nothing and it shows bad reviews and there's no team building on your social media, there's nothing that's going to draw them in to want to work there. They're just going to move on. They're either A, going to ghost me in an interview, or B, they're going to talk with me and then say, I really don't think this is the right practice for me. So that's
Hmm.
where social media becomes important. And I know, offices think, well, that doesn't matter. I'll talk with them in person. I'll talk with them. You're not going to get the chance to talk with them because they're going to run.
They're gonna ghost you time and time again. I mean, and that's why we do the process that we do when we're recruiting, because we know, like I've seen I dozens and dozens of posts and people talking about, how much do they get ghosted, even other recruiters. And I have posted into recruiter Facebook groups, and I will ask, what is your show rate for candidates? 90%, 50 to 90% is average for any hiring manager of any kind. And that to me is just bonkers. 50 to 90% no show rate. I think I was saying that wrong. And so they get 10% of the people that they schedule to actually show up. And that's the same for a lot of dental offices, because they're not looking at the grand scheme of things. So if you are in the interviewing process now and you're listening to this podcast, one, please tune in, because we're going to drop some wonderful bombs on you. But also with that, making sure that you're paying attention to everything around your business. Like I don't need to relist them. You listed like all of the places that we look at, and so all of the different places are going to be very important. And the good thing about social media and upgrading your presence, like what we're talking about today, is that it's not only going to help with the candidates, it's also going to help with your patients. So it's a double positive. And so you're doing the front loading work trying to get a candidate, and then eventually it will flow in with your patients too, which is a nice little happy positive.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I just think offices aren't looking at what could be considered a red flag about themselves, because in the interview process, they're just thinking about what the red flag is for the candidate. And while that's great, you should be thinking about those things. You also have to do a little self reflection, a little look into yourself. What are your weaknesses? What are things that you, as an office or a doctor, could do better too? So I guess that kind of leads into something I think the offices and the candidates listening to this would love to hear from you. Or what are some red flags that you've seen on social media that really turn candidates off, or that would turn you off as a candidate? Because obviously you've been one before, so you know what you wouldn't want to see.
Yeah. Candidates, they're not looking for perfection. They're not looking for overly fancy marketing, or curated content where everybody looks like they are absolutely perfect and that there's no clutter. Like my office, you see this within my office, you don't see the clutter for a reason. The rest of it, that's why people don't come into my office. So, that's what they want to see. They want to see what the office is actually going to look like. They want to see, is it always, you said type A earlier, but not meaning in like the type A where you're always a perfectionist, not that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
type A, different
no,
kind of type A. But like that clicked in my head and I was like, this is also kind of like a good thing to talk about too. So they don't need you to be a drill sergeant with making sure that your office is clean and like that all of the papers are put away and all of that stuff. What they are looking for is team members who look like they have a genuine smile on their face, that the office looks and appears to be updated. So you don't have a whole bunch of charts in the back, right? Like if you do, are you going chartless? Like those are things to also consider when you're creating the job ad, is that you can say that you're chartless, because if you have photos online of charts, maybe those are either old and you just don't have another storage space, or that you've transitioned and that image is really old. Anyways, okay, so things that people are looking for. They want to see a team that is connected, that everybody is just basically happy and that they can see themselves in. I think that that's a really important thing, is that they can see themselves in. So what I miss.
I think, well, kind of honing in on a red flag for me is when we talked about earlier, just a few minutes ago, about the Indeed profile and it not being built out. In the Indeed profile for your business is where a review section that employees can leave
Yeah.
for you, so that you get a CEO rating and things like that. I know that that's not something everybody thinks about, but it's something we do with our recruiting company and the offices we work at. We make sure that they are getting those reviews from their employees. So here's the thing with reviews. Employees cannot be reprimanded for leaving a bad one if they still work with you. That is, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously you hope to God they don't, but maybe you
Yeah.
need to take some self-reflection in that and say, hey, this is why this employee feels unhappy, or an ex-employee left and maybe left a review. I understand you don't want those on there, but what can you change from that review to make the next reviews better, to make your employees happier, and to make future employees see these happy reviews come in and want to work with you? Don't just delete them and say, hey, well, that was just a bad person. Was it, or you just don't want to change anything? That can be a red flag for candidates in itself, is either no reviews because you don't care enough to ask your employees for it, or bad reviews. And not making those changes into your practice or into yourself.
And what's really kind of interesting about Indeed's reviews, you can't remove any of the reviews
Good.
unless you are a standalone practice. So like I'll say I live in the Lansing area. So if my business was for Lansing, Michigan, and I had the address and stuff like that, and then somebody left a review because I am a brick and mortar, for example, like dental offices are. If I had a dental office in Lansing and somebody left a review stating that they were in New York, that doesn't make sense. So that
Yeah.
review I could get removed. It's not super easy, but it is something that you can talk with Indeed about. So that's also another consideration to think about when looking at Indeed and looking at your profile and how you can do better. Is some reviews in some different places you can get removed if they're not actually yours. I don't think you can really do it for Google reviews unless you have a really like rock
Yeah.
solid marketing company that can figure that out. I don't really know, but I'm grateful that I haven't I haven't had to deal with that yet. So just another thing that we can think about and kind of consider too.
I love that. I think that's good to take that into consideration, that they can't really be deleted. I do know that I've seen in like the management pages where they'll post a review and they'll be like, how do I delete this because it's a lie or this and that?
Yeah.
A lot of people say even if you have a negative review, you should always respond to it as the office.
Hmm.
Respond and say, we're so sorry this happened. Please give the office a call so that we can discuss this matter. We appreciate you as a patient, or whatever it is. If it is your patient, it's appropriate
Yeah.
to respond. And even if it's not, respond in another way and say, we're so sorry. We're unsure of this matter. Could you give our office a call? Obviously, they're not your patient. You're not saying, hey, you're not in our database. You're not a patient, XYZ. But you're still responding to them and not ghosting them. Obviously, those are, the bad side of things, some red flags that we can see. What do you feel like are green flags on the flip side? Like, what makes an office stand out in a good way to you?
Yeah. So a lot of good reviews. Now, I wouldn't always say that having 5-star reviews is something that is absolutely necessary. I think there are reasons behind it, and I think it's too much to get into all of the different reasons. But if you have 4 stars and above, I wouldn't get too down on yourself, because not all patients are going to be good patients, and maybe you're still just trying to figure that out. There's maybe you had an office manager, listen to the last podcast, maybe you had an office manager that wasn't the best fit and that didn't help handle some of these situations. So having good reviews, or a lot of reviews in different areas, responding to the bad reviews on Google or on any platform that you're on, but also considering and making sure that you're not saying directly like, I know that you're a patient here, blah blah blah, because that violates HIPAA. So make sure that you say something about that within the review, so that you're doing things ethically. because that's the kind of a candidate that you want to attract, is somebody who is ethical along with you too. And then, what offices do want to see online is showing team appreciation. What are you doing for your team? So in March, there's dental assistant week, there's dentist week, there's hygiene week is in April. I think hygiene gets 2 weeks. And then Boss's Day is in October. And there, I don't remember when the front office team member is. There's another one that's for the front office team member. I don't remember when that is. But are you showcasing that you are appreciating them, that they're posting, and then you're resharing what they're posting? Are you giving them flowers? Are you things like that? Because how do they want to feel when they come in? Are you doing that with your new employees too? Are you creating a welcoming environment? We have a new hire checklist. If you want it, feel free to send us a message, and we'll be happy to just send it for free for you. But like, what are you doing to prepare for this person? Are you bringing them breakfast? What are you doing to make it sure so that they have a good onboarding process when they do come in? And do they get to see that with any other team members who have recently come in? So there's a lot that's reflected on social media and reviews and all of that stuff that candidates can hopefully do a really good and big deep dive on. So those are also things to consider, standing out in a good way.
Yeah, I want to highlight one of the offices that we have had the opportunity to work with that I love, is Illuminate Family
Mm,
Dentistry in Ohio. I mean, their social media is awesome. If you want to check out somebody that I think has fantastic social media, check them out. Again, it's Illuminate Family Dentistry. And it's funny enough, small world story of dentistry. The person who is now handling their social media is the dental assistant that we hired with them. Gosh, it's been almost 2 years ago now. And Kate, shout out to her. She's doing fantastic with that. Took that on as another part of her job. So she's doing great. Her videos are fun and engaging. The whole team looks like they're having a great time. And I think that just shows that they work well as a team and they have a great team bond. And if I looked at their page as somebody wanting to work there, I would say, wow, I want to work with them. They look awesome. They look like they have the best time together. Who wouldn't want to work there? So I just think that that is so cool. And I think every office should really be integrating that. Whether you ask a dental assistant or a front desk team member, would you want to take on our social media? And then maybe give them, a little bit of a raise for taking on that extra skill set and that extra task. You don't have to have a social media manager or a marketing company if you don't necessarily want to, but somebody in your office might really already have those skills and the drive and the excitement to do it, just like Kate did, which she's had the drive ever since I trained her as a dental assistant. Her drive has been insane. I mean, I showed her how to do something one time and she did it. So I'm sure she did that with social media too. But every office should be doing that. If I see you having TikToks and Instagram reels and just even if you don't want to make videos, that's fine. Not every dentist wants to be a dancer or be engaged in it. That's fine. But maybe your team members do, or maybe you just want to take some fun photos together out and about at a team function and post those with a fun caption. That's great too. Just show that you're involved with your team members and that they're involved with each other, and you have a good office flow. That anybody's going to want to work for somebody that shows that, and that is listed in their social media.
Yeah, and also considering there's a lot of offices that have monthly team meetings, are you only talking about the numbers? Are you only talking about the problems and the issues? Something that we integrated into our monthly team meetings here at Career Elevation is an icebreaker in the beginning. We all know each other, but the icebreakers are very fun. And so if you guys had like a 15-minute game or 10-minute game or whatever, that's a really good opportunity where monthly you get the opportunity to take a picture with your team having fun with each other, or extend your team meeting by 30 minutes and have a 30-minute like team challenge where go find Easter eggs or something within the practice, right? Or you go and find, a 4-leaf clover for, like that it's hidden, or that there's money hidden someplace within the office. And here's there's $100 bill, there's a $50 bill, there's a 20, and then like 10 tens or something like that, where it's not a ton of extra money that you have to spend, but it's something that will get the office motivated to go and do other stuff. So that's a really, another really great idea, so that your team does actually enjoy what they're doing on a daily basis. And an extra little bit of money is always helpful to get everybody
Yeah.
motivated to get out of their seat on a daily.
Exactly. Yep. I don't know if you want to ask or if we want to kind of just share on this together. Why do you think offices overlook this? Like where do you think that comes from where doctors are kind of just like, I don't care about social media. It's not important to me.
Exactly. I mean, that's it. A lot of times they don't see the value in it. Maybe they had a marketing company that they didn't think that the marketing company did a good job, and they just assume that all marketing companies are going to do that. They think it's going to be too expensive, that it's going to be too complicated to get into it. But like you said, Kate, she already knows how to do it. And so imagine like giving her $1 an hour raise. I don't know what if she did get a raise or whatever that looks like, but imagine giving her $1 an hour raise. How much is that at the end of the year? Not a
Exactly.
ton of extra money, and you're going to pay a lot less, $1 an hour more than you are going to a marketing company, I assume. And so, don't overcomplicate things. Just show your team being your team, and patients will see that they are enjoying what they're doing. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to be overly perfect and overly curated.
And I think that kind of leads back to what I talked about earlier. They also assume that candidates aren't looking at it. And
Yeah,
while I do have those, you know, type C candidates, like we talked about, who aren't looking, they don't even know the name of your practice.
yeah,
Do you want to hire that candidate? Or do you want to hire my candidate who is my type A candidate who has researched you and has questions and is excited about what they have found or what they may not have found because you don't have any social media. So it's turned them off. And now they said, this isn't somewhere I want to work. Now you've lost that great candidate and you have to settle for your type C candidate who I would not even send over to you to hire.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a few things that you can do this week to start improving your online presence. Literally, one of the things can be what I just mentioned of like doing some kind of an icebreaker. That can be one of the easiest things. And an icebreaker for the whole team, and then just take a few photos. And you know what's really cool too is you don't have to post that photo either the same day or the next day. You can take a lot of different photos from different angles
Yeah.
and post those over different weeks. And it looks like you're continuously doing this, but it's just kind of like another tactic to share with social media. So you can take a lot of different photos. It can be of today, and you can say, we're reflecting back on our icebreaker from 2 weeks ago. We had such a great time and everyone's still talking about it, blah blah blah. Just another thing that you can do so that you can pre-post the images and things like that. So there's a ton of things. Okay, what other things do you think that we can do this week to improve online presence?
Yeah, I think automatically updating the website. I see a lot of websites that are very outdated, very old. Either maybe they have no team member information listed, or they have old team member information listed, or they don't even have the updated procedures that they do in the practice listed anymore. And if you update that and you show what you have developed the practice into, it's going to draw patients in. They're going to say, oh, this practice is growing and adding these new technologies in. I would like to go be a patient there. So that's another thing. It's not just about showing your team. While that's great for candidates, on the patient side is, what do you offer in this office that makes me want to be a patient there? Because there's hundreds of dental offices, whether they're corporate or private. What makes that intriguing to me too? So I just think overall updating the website, and then that obviously includes with the reviews and making sure that those are coming through too.
Yeah. And go and ask. So also when you're asking your team to leave a company review for you, make sure that you click on the button that says write a review, and you are actually on your correct company profile, because that's another problem. And why, like if I have a practice in Lansing, somebody from New York is commenting because maybe there's another career elevation in New York, right? And so making sure that you're giving them the right link so that they're not leaving a review on the wrong place. So that's another really important thing. And then also, if you're going to be posting images of your team members, make sure that you get a general social media like photo release form. I'm sure you can probably find it on the internet, or ask your HR company. Ask your, I don't know, your accountant maybe. I'm not even sure exactly who's going to have this. If you have a marketing company, they probably have one,
You could
but
probably ask
just
ChatGPT if you wanted to.
probably. Yeah, careful with legal things on chat, but if that's what you want to go with, then obviously you can go with that. But consider doing that, because you don't want to have some kind of an issue in the future too.
Yeah, and I think a cool way to gather those reviews from your employees too. Say if you're a big practice and you have, 30 plus employees, asking 30 people to do a review, the likelihood all of them do it for free and for nothing is kind of unlikely. They'll probably forget. Now, what you could do, let's do a raffle. Whoever does a review, their name gets entered to win a $25 Starbucks gift card. Now it's fun, it's engaging for your team members. They're going to want to do it because who doesn't want a coffee? I mean, we all need it, especially in the dental field. We're tired. We need some extra caffeine. So why not do something fun? And then you can post about that too. Like you can post about these fun things you're doing with your team, the raffle. You can say, oh, look, they want a gift card or whatever you want to do to create more engagement on your social media. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. Okay. So I think that's a wrap for today. I think we can probably pour into this much more, but I'm trying to work on my time management for this podcast. So if today gave you a laugh, a tip, a little sanity, please feel free to share this podcast with a friend of yours in dentistry who just maybe needs a tiny little miracle in their hiring life.
We've got more stories, strategy, and sass coming your way.
Until next time, stay elevated.